Hey, you, come, gather around the campfire, and welcome to the party. This is Party Chat, a JRPG podcast where we talk about everything that we love in the world of JRPGs and other Eastern titles. I am one of your hosts, Cameron Hawkins, and with me, as always, is my party partner, Kevin Kenson. Kevin, how you doing? And
I'm doing good, yeah. And we have a little purse cameo. He's been yelling at me tonight. I'm not quite sure why. He's got food. He's got water. He probably wants cuddles because I've been out all day. And he's like, "Why aren't we chilling right now? Like, what's going on?"
I mean, Percy can come to you.
This is true. Well, yeah, he's not a lap cat. He doesn't live that way. He'll lay right next to you. That's it. For context, if you haven't seen me talk about my cat before on the Discord server, Purse is rocking a solid 17 years old right now. He's basically as old as FF13 is my usual frame of reference. He does three things. He sleeps, he eats, and goes to the bathroom. So usually he enjoys sleeping near me, and I think he's mad right now that I'm at my computer desk recording. And he's like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
Why can't you just... It's cold. Let's cuddle.
Yeah, Astra is a handful in a lot of cases, but she knows when she's has a bedtime, and when it's bedtime, she's looking at me like, "Why aren't you coming to bed? What are you doing?" So, I totally get that. But, yeah, I mean, things, how are things? Things going good?
Yeah. Can't complain.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, because I knew that if I didn't go Monday night, I probably would have had no opportunity until post SGF. I went to go see I Love Boosters, which is the new film from Boots Riley. So if you've seen Sorry to Bother You, that's one of his movies, and it was really good.
I've heard lots of good things.
It was really good, and I think it's because I did enjoy Sorry to Bother You a lot. Not going into spoilers, but that movie takes such a left turn. Left turn takes a left turn. And this movie does it too, but it I think it fits more. I think it's more it's not as polarizing, I guess. In
it's
a way,
not quite as absurd, because it gets pretty absurd.
It fits the theme of what the story revolves around better, if that makes sense. So yeah, I really recommend people to check that out. Outside of that, just same old. There was some weird decision to return to weapon degradation discourse on social medias a day or two ago.
Oh, I missed that whole thing.
Oh, thank God you did, dude. Well, I mean, for you're probably because you like the weapon degradation stuff. I'm one of those weirdos.
I mean, it depends on the game.
Well, I think Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom.
I'm not a huge fan of how it's handled in those.
Really?
I think the balance in them is extremely wacky. I like the concept of it in them, because I do like the idea of try to use different weapons and maybe use the right ones. But Breath of the Wild's balance is so utterly wacky, where it's you're just struggling early on to have anything useful at the beginning. The middle, there's a sweet spot for 4 hours, and then it's I am drowning in legendary weapons. What do I even do with all these? Yeah, I thought the balance in Breath of the Wild, I liked the concept of it, but the execution was not it.
So here's a question for you, and to be clear before I ask this question, this is where I stand on weapon degradation. In general, I'm not a particular fan of it. I understand the purpose.
Sure.
And I respect the purpose. That being said, I don't think those games, despite how big they are and how vast they are and the amount of things you can do in that game, I don't think there's a whole lot of variety in the weapons. And I don't think when you actually use the weapons that are available to you, I don't think that there's a lot of variety in the actual actions that Link does. And that is where I I take issue with it. And I'm not saying they had to go as far as every weapon had unique animations. I'm not saying that.
Sure.
But I just wish that there was more.
Yeah, because Breath of the Wild has what, like 4 weapon types? It's like
Yeah.
one-handed sword, two-handed sword, spear, and like
And
heavy weapon, right?
yeah, like a club or
Yeah.
heavy weapon. And so that's like more of my issue with that stuff. That being said, I've seen this argument before, and I think it's stupid. And I understand where they're going with it. I just
Uh-huh.
disagree. But
Sure.
people try and argue that like weapon degradation is just like using guns.
100%.
Yeah, and see, I just don't
It's just
agree with that.
it's resource management. Number goes down, and eventually you can't use the thing anymore unless you get the thing that makes the number go back up.
Yeah, and I just feel like I from a base level conceptual level, I can get on board with that. But then when you bring in the context of like how often you actually run out of ammo in shooters,
Sure.
and like how often versus how often a weapon will break in like a Breath of the Wild or a Tears of the Kingdom, I think we're talking about two completely different things at that point. And
I
that's
think
where
it,
more I take issue.
Well, I think it also comes down to just how that whole, again, like, I don't think the issue with Breath of the Wild is that weapon degradation exists. I think they just did a bad job of it. Because I think it's all about execution, right? Like, Pragmata is an example where it's literally limited ammo, right? Because, like, you don't have a regular, like, generic ammo pack. It's just like, this gun has 6 shots, and once you're out until you find that gun again.
Yeah, and I just don't
like,
see that as a 1-for-1. I just don't.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I think Pragmata does a better job of balancing it because there's such a constant flow of things you're finding,
Sure.
and you're swapping in interesting ways. Zelda, you're running into moments where you're just like, man, is there anything I can use here other than a leaf? Like, I need an actual weapon right now. And again,
Yes.
like, I think that game does hit a sweet spot in like the very middle where it's just right. But the way they tune the durability in that game, you're just hungry for weapons at the start. And then at the end of the game, you're just an embarrassment of riches. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a bad execution. Is my argument for that.
Okay, cool. I'm glad that like we weren't completely on opposite ends there.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting that. No,
because I mean, I think weapon degradation is really interesting. Like, I think a lot of the older Fire Emblems are a great example of like how it can be more interesting because it's like that makes like using the stronger weapons or like the specialty weapons a more interesting choice.
Yes.
I think in some of the more like life simmy RPGs, especially in the Western RPGs, I think like needing to upkeep your armor and stuff is an interesting aspect of like that is a cost, that is a maintenance, that is a resource you have to be aware of. And again, like there absolutely are examples where it's just not done well, and I think that's what Breath of the Wild falls under for me. I don't think the concept of degradation is the issue there. They just didn't do a good version of that system.
I agree. But we got a lot to talk about this week. There was a Dragon Quest 10-minute thing that happened this morning. That's what I'm going to call that.
We'll talk about that more.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when we get to it. Which is why for our like patrons and our YouTube membership people, we didn't do an episode a day early again this week because important things to the podcast came up and we wanted to make sure that we were on top of the ball there. But in correlation with that, I did wear one of the new Dragon Quest Uniqlo shirts that I got with the Metal Slime pocket tee. Shout out to the homie Mitch, who's been a day one listener and supporter of ours, IGM alumnus, who because for some reason this was only being sold in Japan and Canada. It wasn't being sold in America. And so I just hit him up and I was just like, hey, could you scoop this for me? And he got me that one, and then he also got me the King Slime one where it's like
that one's really good. I like that one.
This one's really good. So it's like the slime making the formation before they turn into the King Slime. And then it has the King Slime on the back.
I also love how those are not proportional. It's not like, oh yeah, like these ones, and then there's a slime, King Slime like the same size. It's like, no, it is twice the size now.
Yeah. Also, for those that like were interested in this shirt and have been like considering it, I say get it because the slimes on the front are raised. you can't tell by any of the pictures, but like they're raised and it's really cool. So I got to be really careful about like washing this shirt. Like this is probably one I'm gonna like hand clean, uh, for as long as I'm willing to do so, because I really like this shirt a lot. So shout out to Mitch for that. But yeah, so we're gonna get into the news, but before we do that, we're gonna get into some housekeeping. If you've been enjoying the show, please go to your podcast service of choice and hit the follow button, and to keep us up to date on all whenever we drop a new episode. You can also go to youtube.com/@partychatjrpgpod. Hit the subscribe button over there. Again, we've been getting a lot of subscribers over the past few weeks, so thank you to everyone who's been subscribing. We really appreciate you. We also have a Discord that we'll have linked in the description of this episode, where you can hop in and chat with us and other members of the community. We also have a Patreon and YouTube membership for $5. You get weekly episodes, normally a day early, as well as a bonus episode, which we just recorded one last week, as well as our Campfire catalog, which we are finally getting back to. Next month, we're going to finally finish Legend of Dragoon, and we're going to get that on board. After June is over, I'll be done with my book. I'll have much more free time. Well, not much more free time, but I'll have more free time. So
enough to do that.
enough to do that. So, very excited to finally get nailed down. Lastly, go to youtube.com/Kevin Kenson and hit the subscribe button over there. And now we're going to get into the news for this week. Dragon Quest. There was a 10-minute Dragon Quest update stream that happened. At least in the US. In Japan there was like a longer one, but
like quite a bit longer, I think.
Yeah, but it was all like Japan exclusive stuff.
Yeah, it was a lot of merch announcements, which is kind of what I thought we'd get at ours too, but no, they were just like, hey, here's some games, 2 plus a trailer later.
Yeah, they were like, oh yeah, we didn't do this for the US because we didn't think they would care, which I honestly think is relatively fair.
Yeah, well, especially if it's merch that's not officially being released here, right? Like, don't get me wrong. The diehards are going to pay attention, and they're going to import it. They're going to make that happen. But those are the people that are also going to watch the Japanese live stream, even though there's not, like, an English version. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They knew that, like, for the wider audience, they were like, hey, this is the stuff that is coming to you. So, here.
Yeah. So, let's do the smaller things first, and then get into the big stuff.
Sure.
Because there's going to be a lot to talk about. So first things first, we got that confirmation that Dragon Quest 11S is coming to Switch 2. It is releasing on September 24th. Unfortunately, your Switch save, if you already have one, will not carry over to the Switch 2 version.
Yep.
So if you want to play the Switch 2 version, you have to play it fresh.
Yep.
Very disappointing,
and buy it outright. There's no upgrade path either.
Oh yeah, there's no upgrade path either. Yeah.
Nope. Yep. It's just a full brand new standalone release. That's all you get.
Yeah. That sucks. I mean, like, I still have my physical copies for Xbox and Switch, so that is, I'm not stressing that much, but that I wish that they gave the opportunity there for at least an upgrade path,
sure.
to carry over.
And have you seen any confirmation? I mean, it's probably going to be a game key card, but have we seen that?
It is a game key card.
The physical is,
cool. The physical is unfortunately a game key card.
Yeah, I mean, not surprising. That's been the track record for Square Enix, but just always want to double check.
Yep. So that's one announcement. The other announcement is that they announced a new Dragon Quest Monsters game, which is surprising, called Dragon Quest Monsters: The Withered World. And it's but in this case, it's coming to everything. It's coming to PS5, it's coming to Xbox Series consoles, it's coming to Switch 2, Switch, and PC. So, because previously the last one, Dragon Quest Monsters 3, The Dark Prince, I believe is the name. That one was exclusive to Switch on console, and then it was also on PC.
Yeah.
It stars dual protagonists, being a young Bianca and Nira from Dragon Quest V, which is one of the things I think is really cool about this game, is how they are able to fit in these other stories that feature already existing characters
Yeah,
in
that's
ways that
been
aren't intrusive to the original stories that they're from, but like they're able to like put those in.
Yeah, and that kind of has been the route they've been going more lately with a lot of the spin-off ones. Because even the last Dragon Quest Monsters, that was a tie-in to DQ4, where you're
Yep.
Sorrow, and then what
Dragon
was
Quest
it?
Treasures.
Yeah, Treasures. You were I can't remember his name right now, but the
Eric.
blue-haired thief. Yeah, Eric. You're him and his sister. So yeah, that's an interesting thing that they've been trying to make more of the kind of side games, even if it's an established franchise like Monsters. They're like, hey, we're gonna make sure you're starring like this character from and especially in this case where 5 is a lot of people's number one. That's definitely one of the big entries in the franchise. Pointing back to that is interesting.
Yeah, I mean Bianca is probably my favorite Dragon Quest character so far as I've been playing through the series. Like she just has like the most personality and just and all of those things that I think that that's great, and she's a perfect pick for a game like this. We didn't really learn much else outside of that about title and platforms. No release date, nothing like that.
Yeah, I think the most they hinted at was it wasn't even a for sure thing. They were like, "Hey, we think this is gonna come before the other game we just announced."
Yeah,
We're like, we're not even 100% on that, but this one should be next, and then the big next one will be, yeah.
yeah, and I do wish I would really like it. I don't think they're going to do it, but I would really have liked it if they announced, hey, the first two that are on they're both on DS, correct? The first two.
The
It
first
was
two.
just
What?
Dragon Quest Monsters and then Dragon Quest Monsters Joker.
No, the original ones are like way back on the Game Boy.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. The Joker series was DS,
And that was two. That was basically
were-
Dragon Quest Monsters 2.
no, that was Dragon Quest Monsters Joker and Dragon Quest Monsters Joker 2. Like it's its own sub series, kind of.
Okay, sure, sure. I was gonna say at least it would have been nice to get those DS games ported over, but apparently that's a different thing. So
Yeah, there's Monsters and Monsters 2, which were on Game Boy. I think Monsters 2 might have been like Game Boy Color specifically. And then Joker was the series they started doing on DS, and that got 3 releases, I think. I think the third one was Japan only.
Japan
though.
only.
Yeah, and then after a bit, we finally got Dark Prince. So yeah, this is them starting a new subtitle again, basically.
Okay. Yeah, I have Dark Prince. I would like I was gonna like just kind of start playing those games after I caught up on Dragon Quest. But and I'm also curious if because I know that when that game came out, there was definitely some performance issues on Switch.
Yeah.
I'm curious if that has gotten better just like from patches / the Switch 2. If not, like worst case, I would just buy it on Steam because like right now, I think right now on sale you can get it for like $10. Like it's not a super expensive game, so hope worst case I buy it on PC and the performance is better there. But yeah, very cool. We'll definitely buy and play that game when it comes out. Just sucks, like it just really sucks here, like seeing these like Square Enix games getting announced and being like, oh yeah, I'm super excited to get this, and it's like, wait, it's probably going to be a game key card on Switch too. So I guess I'm like not going to have that for my shelf.
At least this one's multi-plat, so there is more options this time.
Yeah, worst case, buy digitally on Switch 2 and then buy it physically somewhere else. We'll see. And then the big one, Dragon Quest 12.
Re-revealed, kind of.
Yeah, so basically they started off this whole presentation with Dragon Quest 12 and they said, hey, so we got a decent way part through the production of this game and we realized that just things weren't working out. And we reorganized and we restarted development from scratch, including the name. The name is no longer Flames of Fate. It is now Beyond Dreams. We got to look at the hero of the game as well as like a couple of other characters. And there's already been some theories running rampant on certain things. But Kevin, I want to hear your thoughts.
We got ourselves a sleepy boy this time for our protagonist. I haven't seen these eyeballs on a main character, I don't think ever, for like a Toriyama design. Which that is worth bringing up. One of the things they did mention with this presentation is that despite the fact that they have both passed, there is going to be both Toriyama artwork and Sugiyama music that are part of this game. It wasn't clear to me from that presentation if that means like, oh, we had enough stuff from them both to like that covers it, or if it's like, hey, some of it's going to be them, and then we do have supplementary things that are from other artists and musicians, and here's where that came in. But they did clarify that, like, despite them having both passed quite a few number of years now, their work did make it into this. The part of the thing with them scrapping Flames of Fate and making this one is that it does sound like, I know a lot of people in the fandom had apprehension around Flames of Fate because some of the initial talk around it was, hey, like, we want to make it darker, we want to be a little grittier, we want this one to be a bit more adult. And it's not really clear what that actually meant on its own, right? Like, those, like, darker can mean so many different things in execution until you actually see what they made. But that was a thing that some people were like, oh, maybe I'll be into that. And then there were a lot of people, especially like the hardcore fans, who were like, I like this because it's like the comfort food. Why are we messing with the recipe? What's happening? And it sounds like, whether that was a thing the internal team felt as well, because it doesn't sound like they're like just capitulating to like fan demands. It definitely sounds like on their own, they were like, yeah, we were trying some stuff out and kind of wasn't working. So we went back to the drawing board, and it sounds like they still want to be a little experimental with this one, but it is playing a little closer to the traditional beats. And you see that immediately in the trailer we saw, right? Like they show all these like vistas and areas and like locations, and it's like, yeah, that's 3D Dragon Quest, all right. That is how those things look. And then we got a brief shot of 3 different characters. There's who we're pretty sure is the protagonist. Has like a black mohawk and very sleepy looking eyes, which is such a different design from what we normally see in Dragon Quest titles for a lead. And then there was this woman that gave me almost kind of like Luca vibes a little bit. It seemed like she is some kind of like had either scientist or engineer, like working with robots kind of things going, because she had a companion with her. And then we see a lizard / like dragon person. And where some of the early conspiracy theories we're getting right now is that character is the same character as the main character, but like doing some kind of body shift. Maybe it's a one-time big plot moment, or maybe it's a back and forth thing. But the reason why is because the dragon character has like the same style mohawk. It's just white instead of black. And his clothes are very similar. It's not identical, but it's like they both have like a black tank top with then like leather armor put over it. And the leather armor is different, but the tank top's kind of the same. And so there's a lot of theories right now of like, oh, like, so are we doing some kind of weird shapeshifter thing? Like, what's going on? And then this did not show anything that resembles like actual hard gameplay other than like running in a field. We don't have combat. We don't know, there was also some worry with the talk of Flames of Fate that maybe they would change the combat to something very different, maybe go the real-time route. And we have no idea. It seems based on their comments, I feel like this is going to end up being like turn-based party again, but that is potentially a surprise later down the road. We're just going to have to cross when we get there.
Yeah, I have a few things I want to talk about regarding this. First off, the presentation was done by Saito, who's like basically the new like executive head of Dragon Quest, as well as Yuji Horii, of course, the father of Dragon Quest. And I don't know if you felt this, but especially like when they explained what was happening with the development, this very much felt like I'm in charge here, Yuji, you just sit there and look pretty type vibe. Did you get that vibe too?
I don't think I got that vibe.
I went back to watch it, and it just really felt like Yuji was there just for like appearances,
sure.
If that
like
makes
to
sense.
Be around. Yeah,
sure.
To
be around instead of like, but it felt like that. And I get that he's the executive, but I'm like, when you, I don't know, it just like made me think like if Sakaguchi was still at Square Enix, right? And they were talking about like the next Fire Emblem game, and then there's like someone else that's like doing 95% of the talking, and then Sakaguchi's just standing there and just like smiling and looking pretty. Like that whole like vibe to me felt very like, you say hi, I'm gonna do all the talking. Again, there's nothing that, it's just a vibe thing. I have like no evidence, but it was 100% a vibe thing, and it's just like, huh, interesting. And then that being said, I hate the new title. I hate that they got rid of the alliteration.
Yeah, the alliteration change is weird because it's also like usually there's alliteration, right?
Yeah.
Like not every title, but a lot of them. And the most recent one was, you know, still alliteration with Echoes of Elusive. I don't hate the new title. I do think the older title rolls off the tongue better. I'll agree the alliteration is stronger. But I don't hate the title Beyond Dreams. I think there's a succinctness to it. I think like there's a promise, and like I think there's a big tone shift that brings too. Because Flames of Fate is a very like, that feels like we're trying to go hard here right now. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and it's not like the literal subtitle. I just hate that they got rid of the alliteration. Like I wish it was like Dreams Beyond something with a D. Like that would have been like so much better. Mm-hmm. And so like that's something that that irked me. Overall, like I kind of walked away from this very underwhelmed. Like, and part of it, of course, is because they restarted development. Not in the sense of like learning that, but like what they showed after learning that. It's like, yeah, you're not going to really show much because you restarted development. Yeah, you're only so far in. But also like, did they confirm that Toriyama designed the new hero?
They confirmed that Toriyama's art is involved. I don't think they specified what was sourced from what. So it's possible that the hero is not. Because
earlier you made it sound like he like for sure was, and like that, and that's why I was curious about that. But
yeah, they were not 100% clear on like what the actual amount of Toriyama art to non-Toriyama art is going to be. It could be 100% Toriyama for all we know. Maybe the man had that many notes and designs just sitting, you know, in his back pocket ready to go. But their wording was just like, oh, like we're still going to have Toriyama art.
That's
you know,
cool.
Like that was the vibe. Yeah.
That is cool. In general, that is cool. That being said, I really don't like the design of the hero in this game.
I dig it.
I really don't like it. Every time I look at it,
he's a tired boy, and we're all tired. This is a Dragon Quest hero of the modern day.
Yeah, he just like doesn't look like a Dragon Quest protagonist to me. I just don't. I feel like that with like, and I'm not saying this is for every Dragon Quest hero design. Like some are definitely stronger than others, but like there's a sense of identity to like all of them in a way that I don't feel that here. And so, or like it doesn't look like that to me here. And
I mean, the eyes are a significant shift. Like that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, the eyes are a significant shift.
The hairstyle is also a little more wild than like what we've gotten for like main characters, at least. Like that's definitely a Toriyama hairstyle. That's the android number. Oh wait, which number is it? Is that 9?
21.
21. Yeah,
the one that was like that was introduced. Oh, you're talking about 16.
Yeah, the red mohawk. Yeah, it's that.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the kind of like upward style that the android from Dragon Ball FighterZ had. But no, 16 like kind of like, I don't know. I you know, I keep looking at him and I'm just like, because the first time I saw him in the trailer, I had a weird look on my face. I was like, oh, okay. And yeah, just the more that I see him, I'm just like,
it varies from shots, because there's like this one first shot I've seen going around, a screenshot where it's like kind of a front facing view and he has a little bit of a dull look on his face. And I agree, it's not the strongest shot there. I really like the side profile shot though that we see sometimes too, where it's him holding the sword.
The side profile looks much better.
Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah. And I think this is just an example of like, it's like when everyone was freaking out about the Aloy design in Horizon Forbidden West, because they all fixated on that one screenshot It's like, yeah, the lighting in that scene was kind of weird, and it made her look like a bit of a different face than what we're used to seeing otherwise. And then it turned out it was literally because it was just how that one particular shot was done. And I kind of get the vibe with this little bit of like they accidentally did a bad like face shot for one of the intro scenes, and then it immediately looks better the other times we see him.
That's possible. I don't know if I would go that far, like when it comes to that comparison, but yeah, I'm not. I don't know. We'll see. But that for me, again, I'm giving a certain level of benefit of the doubt, knowing that they were very candid about being like,
Restarting.
"Hey, we're restarting."
Yeah. I am curious how long ago that happened. Because we've talked about this before, because I brought up my theory was that like, hey, so this game was announced 5 years ago. It was about what, 2.5 or 3 years ago that we got the CEO change and being like, oh, we're planning on kind of refocusing our efforts on like what things we're focusing on. And I don't know if it happened during that change or if this came later, because even their wording kind of implies that it had nothing to do with like greater company shifts. It seemed more just like, hey, this specific team realized the way we were going just didn't make sense. But that could also just be PR talk. So I am very curious, like how long this version of it has been in development, because they said they restarted, but like, did they restart in 2022? Did they restart in 2024? Like, there's a big difference with where that shift happened, because we had no news since that like initial reveal.
I'm thinking it's probably around 2024. Yeah. That's kind of my theory. But also, yeah, I really don't know. It's like it's so impossible to guess
until they actually say something. Yeah,
I don't want to just like throw out theories without actually having things to potentially go off of.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't last month. Like they have things to show. There is like stuff that's been in development. But yeah, it's like there's just no real telling how far along they actually are. Which I'm not thinking it's going to be surprised this year or something, but like I feel like depending on how long ago they restarted and the fact they're showing it off right now and even already talking about Dragon Quest Monsters, like late next year might not be impossible. It could be all the way out in like 28 maybe, but I don't think this is going to be like suddenly we're waiting another 5 years or something. Who knows? Maybe we're still doing the podcast in 5 years. We'll look back on this and I'm like, yeah, it took a minute.
Yeah, that would be crazy. I don't think it will be that. Yeah, it definitely won't be 5 years. Like before this morning, before we learned about what we know about Dragon Quest 12 now, I was in the headspace where like Dragon Quest 12 has to come out next year. Like that's where I was just like Final Fantasy Part 3, Dragon Quest 12, maybe Kingdom Hearts 4. Like those two had to come out, right? Now I'm like, when you said late next year, I'm like, there's no way in my headset. But because like 11 just took so long, and I don't know like what the development cycle was like, if there was any sort of like issues with 11's development that you may be aware of, but I don't know anything about it. But like 9 to 11 was 2 generations of, you know what I mean? And it was just like, and that wasn't even in-house development. That was level 5 on 9. So technically it was like 8 to 11.
Yeah, and I mean 10 was in the middle of that, but that is also a different situation because that was an MMO, and I don't really know what the split was there as far as like staff. I have not studied that because I know release-wise those were about 5 years apart between 10 and 11. But I don't know what the like shared resources are there and like how much like who worked on what, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think another part of it is just like how long they want this game to be, because I know that 8 is very long, 11 is even longer. It's like I think some people have said that's like longer than Persona 5, which is wild. But yeah, so it's for me now at this point, it's okay, whenever it comes. I'm not expecting it anytime soon, which kind of sucks because like I know that's like one of the big games that like everyone's been waiting on for a long time, and now we're kind of just putting it in its little box and locking away the key for at least another year.
Yeah. I mean, especially with how they've been treating this franchise lately, I feel like we're going to get other stuff in the interim.
Yes.
I think we have other releases going on for sure before this one drops. What those all are and how long they take. I definitely think there's going to be a slowdown compared to like we just came off of a really high density of releases with like 4 remakes within what was that, like a year and a half time span. Yeah, it's not going to be that high tempo all the time, but I suspect they're going to find things to release with this franchise.
Yeah, and one of the things we didn't mention is that no sort of announcement or it's happening about 4 through 6.
Yep.
And on top of that, I saw some people on social media basically like kind of looking at the logo for 12, and apparently there are things there are like these towers and stuff in the logo that are tied to the Zenithian trilogy. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people are already theorizing that 12 is going to be like what 11 was to the Erdrick trilogy. And so like that's an interesting little theory.
That feels a little extra reachy to me, just because like towers and JRPGs are kind of a dime a dozen. Like we've talked about this before, right? When the Sword Art Online teaser thing went up and we weren't sure if it was Sword Art or not. And it's like towers are such a thing in a lot of JRPG storytelling that I don't know if that's like a unique enough iconic thing.
This is a pretty like specifically designed tower in this background, I would say. Because there's like multiple pillars on the top of the tower and things like that. There's a little bit of iconography here that I don't think it's a stretch that people that are, because the people that I saw that doing it was like David Vink, who's like no one knows Dragon Quest like he does.
Oh, for sure.
And so like him saying that's like, yep, that's probably the case. He's probably right. So yeah. But cool.
Real quick too, one just side piece of news they dropped alongside. Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3 across both games, 4 million sales. I'm very curious what the actual like divvying is up on that, because I think Dragon Quest 3 hit 2 million pretty fast.
Yeah.
So I'm curious like what the actual breakup is there, and if 1 and 2 has hit 1 million yet. But yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 65-35.
Something like that, sure.
Something around there.
Yeah, 3 in particular is just such a popular one. Like historically, 3 is just an established like big one.
Yeah.
And even though 1 and 2 is kind of a cool deal, and they did the whole thing as a trilogy, obviously there was some drop off with people just being like, nope, 3 was all I needed. I'm good.
Yeah, and like Dragon Quest 2 is just as long as Dragon Quest 3, which is crazy too.
Yeah.
The remake is like, it's so good, dog. Like if y'all need I don't know, just play Dragon Quest 2 remake because it's so good. Kevin, the Steam Deck OLED has gotten a price increase, and it's really bad. It's egregious.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so Valve announced they announced like a Switch flip.
Yeah.
That they are increasing the prices of their Steam Deck OLED models effective immediately. So the previous price of the 512 gigabyte model was $549. It is now $789. That being a $240 increase. And then the 1 terabyte has gone from $649 to $949, a $300 increase. Absurd. Yeah, absolutely absurd.
So here's the really crazy thing. So when they first announced these price changes, they didn't have any stock listed yet. And then they did actually have a stock supply today. So they were like, hey, price increase is happening. And then suddenly they were available for sale again. The 512 sold out. Like today. So you can still buy the 1 terabyte at that $949 if you want. But the 512 at $789, a lot of people apparently were still like, yeah, I'll do it.
As someone who doesn't have a Steam Deck, even before, honestly, in reality, and if I'm being completely honest with myself, I was waiting for them to do another but hopeful, never knew it was going to happen for certain. But because I wasn't in a major rush for it, I was hoping that they would do another run of the white Steam Deck, because I like my stuff white. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And but that never happened. And like if you go on eBay to try and want to buy one of those things, it was just like absurdly expensive.
Yeah.
I was like, nope,
But
that's okay. I don't need a Steam Deck like that. But now that it's at these prices, I'm never getting a Steam Deck.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
and that's
never
the thing.
happening.
Like that, yeah. I mean, clearly they're not completely pricing out right now because people are still buying it, and who knows what that actual stock availability was, right? Like selling out means very different things depending on what the actual number sold is. But it certainly is an interesting thing that they did sell that one out. And I think what's really scary about this, right, is, you know, crazy for a system that's been around this long now and used to be considerably more affordable is now this expensive. But what does that mean for Steam Machine, right? Like that's the other big part of this, because the price increase on here, right? It's not because of displays. It's not because of like, you know, oh, there's just more demand right now. The price increase is because of the cost that's happening with storage and RAM. And those are two things that are, of course, going to be a major part of the Steam Machine. So, you know, when we're getting Steam Decks now at these storage levels hitting, you know, $800 plus, yeah, there was a time where that was the dream for Steam Machine, would be that low. And some people were thinking, you know, 500 to 600, which wasn't ever going to happen. But now, like, this thing's going to be like $1,200 minimum, you know, and that's an aggressively low minimum in my mind. Like, I think 1,500 is not like impossible here.
Yeah, this news in general has just like radicalized me to such a degree where I was like, you know, I was just like being whiny about like, guys, why are we doing next gen PS6? Like, why are we doing this now? We don't need to do this.
Yeah.
And then I see something like this, and then it puts into perspective, like really puts into perspective even more so how expensive like these eventual next gen consoles are going to be. And it's just like, I'm not buying these consoles.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
like,
and the problem is this isn't a matter of like, they're not doing this because they just think they can get away with a higher price, right? Like,
yeah, no.
This is a reaction to a real world economic issue right now, which is, you know, the AI bubble just absolutely destroying the availability of these kind of parts and the valuation of what is left for sale. And it's not great. It's not great to see this happen. I mean, I was talking to people earlier today about how it really is crazy how people initially had some sticker shock with Switch 2 being $450, and even with its price increase coming up to $500, it's the most sane sounding option out of everything right now. That's great. $500 for a system that runs like that and is a handheld? Great.
Yep. And like, at least with, because you remember me this time last year being like, I don't need a Switch 2, like I'm good. And the only reason I got one was because you had an additional pre-order, and I was just like, I might as well, I have the money. And then like I immediately was like, I'm so glad I did this, because the quality of life stuff felt immediate in a way that I don't think that's going to happen with like these other systems, these next gen systems, that I'm just like, y'all have to like Kingdom Hearts 4 has to be, or like Kingdom Hearts something has to be a next gen exclusive title for me to buy one of these consoles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with the Steam Machine, like again, like I was one of the people that was like, oh, this was meant for me, because I don't really like to PC game, and having a PC experience through a console, that sounds awesome. But like knowing that it's probably going to be like 12, like you said, like $1,200 was what I was guessing. Absolutely not. I was going to ask you, did we get a full spec list on the Steam Machine previously? And if so, what does that compare to the like just a normal Steam Deck, not including like storage and stuff like that? Right. Because I think that that'll also kind of help put into perspective how much the console's going to go for. Because to me, I mean, maybe I'm wrong here, but like considering the portability factor of the Steam Deck, I would think that the Steam Deck, if the specs were the same, would be more expensive than a Steam Machine. But
yeah, if all else was equal and it was just a matter of one is a portable and one is purely dockable, then like, yeah, the portable one's gonna be more expensive because you have the display tech and all that kind of stuff. The Steam Machine is more powerful. than the Steam Deck.
Okay.
In terms of the main things we're looking at, though, with like RAM and storage, the storage options are going to be are going to be 512, which is how much that the 789 Steam Deck is, and then 2 TB.
Oh,
so yeah, that's already like how high that getting? And then in terms of the RAM, let me double check that real quick. Yeah, it's 16 versus 24. So Steam Machine has like 50% more RAM, basically. So, again, there are aspects in terms of their designs that would make the Steam Machine relatively more affordable if it was like spec for spec the same, because it doesn't have a display. It's not as small of a form factor, so there are ways to be cheaper with the kind of parts you're using and how it all fits together. Lots of cost saving aspects there, absolutely. But when the main things that are driving these wild price surges is storage and RAM, those are both things that are going to be, at least on the highest end models, more on these. And there still are other parts that are more powerful. It has a more powerful processor, more powerful GPU. Like, it is a more powerful system as well. So that stuff's going to be priced up as well. Yeah,
interesting.
So I don't see this being a thing where it's like, the 1 TB Steam Deck is $949 and the 2 TB Steam Machine is $1,000. Like, that's not happening.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I'm really torn because like I do like the idea of the Steam Machine a lot, and honestly I wouldn't really care about getting the 2 TB because again, like I would be using my Steam Machine to play very specific games on it that aren't accessible on console, which is mostly like visual novels, indies, or like indies or ports of like older games that never got like a console release.
Yeah, which honestly Steam Deck would have you covered at this rate. I mean, that's also priced out now, but
yeah, but for me it's just like anything that I would play, I would just like rather play it on my Switch, you know what I mean? Like I think the Switch is just like taking that portability factor from like in its entirety, so like I'm not really interested in the Steam Deck.
I just mean in terms of if you want a thing that runs PC games, that the Switch
yeah, I mean because I also, well, even in that point, like I don't know, like the Ally X is pretty cool. It's just like sucks that it's basically just like a portable PC instead, in that sense. It's weird. Hardware's in a really weird place right now. Like I'm just really happy with my Switch 2. Like that's where a lot of my gaming has been. PS5 as well when it applies. Again, I haven't really touched my Xbox a whole lot, and that's again mainly because when we review games,
it's hard to get codes.
Yeah, for Xbox is just like really wonky with stuff. But in general,
mine is primarily a Game Pass machine at this point, right? Like that's what it's streaming apps and Game Pass. Like that's the main places I do for Xbox. Not to go on too long of a tangent with this, but one thing I do just want to touch on real quick too is that like, obviously with hardware prices going the way they are, I'm very interested to seeing what happens to the market if, the current memory crisis is not figured out sooner than later. Because we're going to hit a point, right, where it's like, if we do try dropping these new systems, PS6, next Xbox system, whatever, absolutely people are going to be priced out of them, like far more than they ever have in the past.
Absolutely.
Like by like huge numbers. And the issue you run into there, right, is that like the whole point of doing these new systems and keeping this thing going is to keep bringing new blood into the system and pushing the levels forward and getting people to do adoption. And if there's just literally not the option to adopt, it's like, okay, what are we doing with games now? Are we going to continue to try and focus on making sure we can only support like the gens that dropped in 2020? Are we going to like try and do a heavier push into cloud play and really try to like have another go at things like making Stadia an actual standard thing for people? Because there's no other way you're going to get the adoption necessary for people to play and buy your games. Because like, if I don't have a thing that can run it, how am I supposed to buy the things to play?
And I'm in the grand scheme of things, I'm not super worried about it. Just because like when I was like really looking back and thinking, like outside of, of course, triple like first party AAA, like some other major third party stuff, like most stuff is still like being released for like PS4,
A lot
right?
of stuff,
and,
yeah.
and we're still getting to the end. We're supposedly nearing the end of the PS5 era, and I do think while they're working on things, at least I still think it's going to be a couple of years before they reveal a console.
Because of this shortage, yes.
Because of the shortage and everything.
Yeah, I absolutely think we would have seen them, like, even possibly heard about them later this year if the memory crisis did not begin last year. Like,
yeah, and so maybe in the future, like once maybe the economy has stabilized a bit and like things have gotten better, then maybe like I won't be as against dropping that much money. Of course, I don't want to, but like because with this past gen, I bought everything at launch. I bought the PS5 at launch. I bought the Xbox Series X at launch. Like I had no issues with doing that. This time around, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna be lucky to buy one console. Like it's not even lucky. It's just the want to or feel the need to.
Sure.
Because in the first party space as well, it's just like there hasn't been a whole lot across this generation to me that really warrants in a real way as well to buy there's so many factors, right? The technology, like the lack of advancement, like compared to previous generations, lack of first party, like I just really don't see the reasoning behind it. So it'll be interesting. Like the hardware space again is just in a very interesting place, and I'm curious as to how all that's going to turn out. Like what that looks like in a year's time, in 2 years' time.
Yeah.
So we got a little bit of an update on Tides of Annihilation. For those that don't remember this was a like an action adventure game that's inspired by like King Arthur, Arthurian legend, a legend type game that apparently is going to have some sort of hands-on event this summer. We've got no details regarding it, just that it's happening. I also think that this gives a really good chance that this is going to show up at the SGF showcase. That's when it was first revealed. I want to say 2 years ago was when it was first revealed.
I think it was last year.
Was it last year?
I think it was. It's been a minute.
Okay. But yeah, so like that's very exciting. This is definitely one of my more anticipated games that's coming out because it just looks so inspired and creative. So just wanted to mention that real quick. And then yeah, for the quickies for this week, like you said before, Dragon Quest Urge Trilogies hit 4 million sales. Brigadine Abyss has a demo now on PC via Steam. Donkey Kong 64 is now on Nintendo Classics for Nintendo 64. Where do you stand on Donkey Kong 64?
It's neat. I like the 2D ones a lot more personally.
Okay.
Like Donkey Kong Country is my preference. I think like 64 is cool and all. I think part of my beef with it is that like if I want to play a collectathon, I'm just going to go to Banjo-Kazooie instead. Like it's kind of the awkward middle child, right? It's like I have Banjo-Kazooie for the 3D collectathon era, and then when I think Donkey Kong, I immediately go to Country on Super Nintendo. Like that's the franchise to me. So
okay.
like yeah, I don't like hate it or anything. It's just not my preference.
Okay. Kid Bash Super Legend is launching in early 2027 for consoles and PC. For those that don't remember, this was like the kind of chibi art direction Mega Man inspired game that was announced on like a Nintendo Direct a year or two ago that looks really cool. Apparently people got to go hands-on with it at Bit Summit last week. So hopefully, we can get some proper impressions on that soon. I'm very interested in that one.
Yeah, it looks really. I love the art style of that one.
Yeah, really cool. Sonic Racing Crossworlds Puyo Puyo content drop is out now. PlayStation Plus monthly games lineup has been announced for June. We got Grounded Fully Yoked Edition, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, which is genuinely a really great Smash clone if you want to check that out.
Yeah, especially wasn't it like a thing that when they did the second one, they like got the voices at that time? Because like the first one, they had like none of the voice actors.
There was
and that was
no
like,
voices.
and that was a huge detractor because it's like how like yes, that looks like SpongeBob, but if I don't hear like Tom Kenny, like what's the point?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the second one addressed that, and they actually got like voices in it, thankfully.
And then worth noting for All-Star Brawl 2, if you are listening to this and you are based in Korea, it's not going to be available in Korea specifically. Warhammer 40k Darktide. And then they also noted that EA Sports FC 26, which is currently available, is going to be available still all the way up to June 16th. And then they also announced that Destiny 2 Legacy Collection will join the game catalog lineup for PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium subscribers. Tekken 8 announced Yujiro Hanma from the Baki series. Do you know anything about this?
Not particularly. I looked into it a little bit because I know of Baki, but I never watched it. I know Yushiro's like the big villain in it, and I believe is Baki's dad. And he's just supposed to be like the most ultimate, most powerful fighter ever to exist, who's also just a massive jerk, is basically his entire concept.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's a wild specific crossover. I'm excited for folks that are looking forward to that. Did you see all because there was like some rumor beforehand that it was going to be like an anime character, and I don't know what the basis for this was, but everyone was saying Kirito from Sword Art Online. So there was like all these people clamoring for like Kirito, and then like they reveal it's like, oh wait, no, this is actually really cool though.
The only Kirito I know is from Sword Art, and I don't think that's the one that people were.
Yeah, no, it is.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like that was like the belief at the time was that we were going to get a Kirito reveal, and I don't know what that was fully based on, other than I know there was like a general thing about we were going to get like an anime collab of some sort.
Yeah, I didn't know I did not hear you say Sword Art specifically.
Yeah.
All I heard was Kirito, so it's just like, okay,
yep,
cool.
I mean, we've had characters with swords before. Is it any weirder than Noctis?
It's it's not any weirder, but Noctis was cool. It was very unexpected, but it was cool. Same thing with like Negan from The Walking Dead. I was like, wait, what?
So bizarre. Yeah.
So bizarre, but very cool. And then the last thing, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves DLC Mr. Karate is launching on May 27th. Now we're going to get into what we've been playing for this week. Kevin and I have been playing Mina the Hollower. And Kevin has rolled credits and it has finished the game. I'm about close to halfway through the game. Kevin, since you have rolled credits on the game, let us know your thoughts. I will say that we're not going to go like from like ground up on what this game is. We've covered it 2 or 3 times on the podcast already. Yeah. It's also like one of the biggest indie games of the year. Like, I'm sure most people listening to this know what it is. If you don't know, it's basically like 2D action, Zelda influence, Soulsborne influence, other games influence. But it's, the new game from Yacht Club, the creators of Shovel Knight. Kevin, let us know what's up.
Yeah, so actually, quick update on that. Last I spoke to, I rolled credits. I have now also 100% of the game.
Okay.
So I have gotten all the things I can get. Technically, I haven't 100% in the sense of like all the feats and challenges, but in terms of like map completion, because the feats are going to take a lot of time. Because there's some very specific ones that I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to do that. But this game is fucking fantastic. I talked about it a little bit last week for what we've been playing because I was allowed to do like the kind of preview coverage from there. Now that I've like actually played through the whole game, it's really good. It's really good. I think the main things I really want to praise about it, I think just the overall sense of world exploration, pathing, and kind of puzzle elements to a lot of the like how you get around the world is excellent. I've been seeing a few people. There's a server that a lot of reviewers were able to like, if we need to ask for help or if people want to talk to each other about things. And something I found interesting is some people were like, "Oh yeah, like this is a really cool like a way to do open world." I'm like, well, I don't know if I call it open world. It's non-linear, but like yes, you can go where you want in whatever direction, but it's all specific paths and it's all things that require you to like figure out how you're going to proceed. You know, when I think open world, I think like, oh, I can just climb that mountain. It doesn't matter. Like I can just go over things. Breath of the Wild, whatever. There's very specific like how you get around and how you figure things out. And what is cool about it is that it is non-linear though. Like you can go to the last dungeon first if you want to. It's gonna be hard to do on your first playthrough without like knowing things, but it's possible. And the challenge level on it is pretty tough at times. I think if you take a little time grinding at the start, it's not too bad, but I definitely made the mistake of like, because it's one of those things where it's kind of like Soulsborne where your level up materials are also just your currency in general. So I was definitely buying a lot of things for completionism's sake. And then I was like, oh, I probably should have been leveling up my stats a little sooner for some of these. But I eventually maxed everything. And yeah, just the world exploration, so good. The surprising depth with certain things, like the different weapons and the mechanics behind them and the sub weapons you can get and the layers with all those. Like for instance, you know, I relied on the whip primarily, and the whip is kind of like the default simple weapon, I would say. Like you got reach, you got good damage, and when you get upgrades for it, the big thing is that you can like hold it down longer to get a damage boost, and then you know you can do the kind of Castlevania style flail it around for a bit. And then there's the shield, and the shield is like suddenly, oh no, your regular attack, super short reach, but it also acts as a parry. So if you time the parry right, it now does this like big ol' explosion that does a lot of damage. There's an upgrade where you can also throw it like a boomerang, and you can jump on it to
I
like
heard
platform.
about that. That is super sick.
No, the shield is by far the most technical of the weapons. Like all the weapons kind of have different, I would say, like skill level investments and payoffs. And the shield is definitely the one where it's like, oh, you want to get technical. Like, you want to do some fancy stuff with the boomerang. You want to focus on parries. Like, you're paying attention. I was spamming the whip all day. It was great. Worked out for me just fine. The gun is also really cool, too. I do like the gun.
The gun is what I've been using the most so far.
Yeah, I like how its melee attack kind of works like a Zelda swipe. So it's a real good, like, you know, with the whip, sometimes straight out, sometimes an enemy can like kind of get on your diagonal, and that can get a little annoying.
Yes.
So the kind of swipe action with the gun was nice, and then the gunshot is just good. Like it bounces around, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like this is something I've ranted up before, but like as an example for sub weapon depth, like there's a throwing dagger where you throw it, goes away, comes back. But if you hit it, it goes away again, and you can juggle with it. So if you can get a boss lined up the right way, it's just like time to juggle the dagger and deal a ton of damage. And like all the sub weapons have like really specific, interesting ways of interacting like that. That I think is so damn cool. It's just such a well executed game on so many fronts. You know, I just think the world design, the combat mechanics, and how well and it's this thing of like it's similar for why I love Shovel Knight, right? Like they balanced this idea of we're recreating something that feels like something that could have been made in that era, but obviously we're also doing some things that just weren't possible back then, and also adding some modern day, you know, quality of life type adjustments. Although this one still definitely favors being a little more difficult. Just a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I like this game a lot. I think this game's fantastic. I think that if, you know, I think it should be in the Game of the Year conversation. It probably should stay in that conversation by the end of the year. And I don't think that is like, I would not be upset, like, you know, about that idea.
Yeah, it feels very like, not to compare this to like another indie darling, but I think it's in a similar position as like Silksong, where like I don't, just being realistic to myself, I don't see it winning things like Game of the Year, but it absolutely should be, and I think will be nominated, unless we get a lot of bangers in the back half of the year.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's the year GTA 6. GTA 6 is going to get Game of the Year, and that is what that is. But like in general, like this is one of the this is like probably my favorite indie game that I've played since like. I mean, I don't remember what year I played it specifically, but like I know I played it later. Like Ape Out is one that comes to mind. Like Spiritfarer, which was like 2020, comes to mind. Star Renegades came out that same year. That was like right under Spiritfarer for me, because Spiritfarer was just like a very like personal thing for me.
Sure,
But
absolutely.
just a very like high quality, like, for me, this isn't when we talk about scores, like this isn't like a 10 out of 10 for me, but it is like an easy 9.
It's a 10 for
um
me.
yeah, and that's perfectly
Yeah,
fine. Like, again, like I get that. Like, I don't think it's a crazy thing to say. I just have there's certain things that I just particularly take issue with.
sure.
um so like, I think that one of the things that I think is very, through my experience, inconsistent is the kind of knockback when it comes to being hit. Like, I think
Hmm.
in some instances, like, I'm not being pushed at all, and then other instances, from enemies that don't really make sense to me for it to happen, I'm like flown back, I get knocked off the map, and then it's just like, what, why did that happen?
Hmm.
um and a big part of when you finish a area, you do this whole like mini game where you're going up a the generator, which is kind
Yeah,
of like, imagine going up, like running up the wall of a lighthouse, I guess is the
right.
best comparison. And I just don't think that whole gameplay segment translates well. It's like visually jarring, to me, and it just kind of like throws you in the deep end in a way that the rest of the game I don't think does, where you kind of have to like figure things out. It's just like, oh, what does this do, what does this do? And like, granted, like, you don't lose health when you're doing these
Yeah, it's
mini
just
this,
trying to succeed.
it's
Yeah.
just trying to get to the top, but it's just like so different from everything else that the game does, that I just like, I've done it a couple of times at this point, and both times I'm like, this is not fun to me.
Hmm.
This is not what I don't like this.
Yeah.
Um that being said, I do like the idea of, you can kind of go however way you want. Like, I don't know what like, I kind of, there is like a newsy, right, that
Yes.
like basically will show you, hey, this is where the developers suggest you go next.
Yeah, there's a
But
lot of
you
seeds that try to like point you like the suggested order, because there's definitely like a difficulty scaling too. Like there are like a pair of levels with bosses that have definitely more health and like higher stats than the bosses from like the early areas they try to push you to.
hmm And there are other things that I don't think, in general, because it focuses so much on that Game Boy Color aesthetic, I think there's certain things about the game that don't read well from a gameplay standpoint. Um, One very small thing. So there's no fast travel in this game, but you can get to new places by going on a train. And I found the first potential train place in the second main area, but you had to they make you like donate a bunch of bones to be able, which is what you use to like level up. But
Yeah,
it's like a
it's the one
universal,
currency.
it's
Yeah.
a universal currency. And it's like, oh, you need to like donate this much money to get access to a new train. And then I bought, like, I was looking at the like the different tickets, and I'm pretty like, I don't remember exactly, but I was just like, oh man, why can't it let me go to the hub town, Ossex, or Ossex,
Hmm.
or whatever it's called. And so I ended up going to a new location, which is like the snow level.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and I got into a boss fight. I'm like, I'm definitely not supposed to be here right now. And so I ended up dying and stuff like that. And then I just went back to Ossex like the normal way, where just like by backtracking. And then when I get to like the next town, or like I get to like the next train station, it's like, oh yeah, you can travel to uh, uh
It's
Ossex. I'm like, oh,
so
that's weird.
the reason you probably couldn't have done it before is because you have to physically go to like the train station screen at least once to be able to fast travel to that train station. So you might have just never gone to like where the train station in Ossex was until later, and then that
Mm.
added it to your list of places you could go to.
Maybe, because like there were other locations
Yeah.
that I've never been to that were like options. And because like, and that because that
Well,
was another thing.
the Coltrane, the Ice Mountain is one they add because that's literally the only way to get there. There, you can create a back path after you go there, but the only way to reach the cold area the first time is you have to take the train, and that's like the way they gate that a little bit.
Okay, yeah, that one was like just like a weird thing. The other one that was a little bit more bothering was the second area that like at the very least that they direct you to is
The bayou.
Is the bayou. It's a swamp area, and in the swamp area there's certain parts where you cannot walk in, you can only burrow.
Yep.
And if you like come up and you don't get onto a platform or onto like the proper grounding, you just fall, and it's like it's as if you just like fall off the map, or you know. And my issue with it was that like the part that like you could stand on was dark purple, and the stuff that you couldn't stand on was light purple. And I didn't like do everything in a single sitting. I know that you like pretty hard blitz through this game, so this probably wasn't an issue for you, but like, you know, I got to that area and then I kind of stopped. I stopped after a little bit, and then the next day when I went back on, I was just like, oh man, like what, like which one allows me to do what again? Like, because they're basically the same color and da 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 da. Like, I just think that some of those aspects just didn't read as well as they could have. But again, ultimately minor things in a otherwise phenomenal game, right? Like these are very like small criticisms that hardly affect like my enjoyment of the game. You know, the boss fights are great. The weapons are cool. I'm having a lot of fun with the gun, but like now that I've heard about like the shield, I really want to give the shield a try. I really do.
The shield is really cool. Yeah,
because I like using things in games that like have a high like skill cap. So that sounds interesting to me. Appealing.
I've seen a few people talk about like shield plus a certain couple of like choice trinkets, the right sub weapon. You're basically like invincible. Like you're just able to create so many ways of getting out of enemy attacks, and like it just becomes a very interesting playstyle. Because that is one thing we didn't touch on either, is that you have these like trinkets that are like passive accessories, and some of them have some pretty big impacts on gameplay. Like some are very simple, just like, oh hey, your attack does more damage. Cool. But then you have others that'll just be like, oh, when you burrow, like you deal damage, or when you do this thing, this will happen now. And like some get pretty fancy.
Interesting. Yeah, right now I only have like, hey, you get 2 more vials and you get a revive for free. That's
yeah. Those are some of the earliest ones are just like, hey, do you want more healing items? You probably want a little help.
Yeah, it's not even that like I needed the help. It's just like, yeah, why would I not want this?
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, like my one I never took off once I got it was Brisk Brew, because it was the movement speed one. It's like, oh yeah, I want movement speed all day. I'm never taking this off.
Oh yeah, that is another thing, is that like the movement can be finicky at times, as well. But again, overall, like very cool game. Like again, Yacht Club, they're masters at what they do, and I'm very happy that this game came out and everyone's like, you know, mostly very, very high on it. And yeah,
I mean, I think it's the highest Metacritic of the year so far, so that's good reception.
Yeah. We just want to give one last shout out to Yacht Club Games for sending us codes for Mina the Hollower. Everyone, please like support them. They genuinely need it. They have been outspoken about this. This is like a make or break for them. So if you have $20 to throw around, whatever platform you like, do it, because you're not gonna regret that the money spent on that. Now we're gonna get into the topic of the show, and we're gonna basically go over SGF predictions. We're not gonna be talking about state of play because we did that last week. So if you want to hear our thoughts on state of play and what we think might show up there, last week's episode will have that. But even then, like in short, not a whole lot that we really know that's like, oh, this is likely going to be here. This is likely going to be at state of play. it's kind of a outside of Marvel's Wolverine, it's kind of a toss up. So
I'm hoping
yeah.
we get one more Tokon team. That's like I think the only thing I didn't say last week.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Get a Tokon thing. But outside of that, we're going to basically talk about the showcase, the SGF showcase, the Xbox showcase, and Nintendo Direct, just in case it happens before we're able to record an episode the week after SGF, because we're going to be busy with coverage and all that stuff.
SGF itself, yeah.
Yep. So we're going to start with SGF. I think the first thing that I want to bring up, because it's been on my mind for a minute, and I think it's time that we see something on it. OD.
Oh, yeah. I mean, best friends. Good old Jeff and yeah. I'd be down. I mean, I feel like that's next. We finally got through the release of Death Stranding 2. It's been a little while now. OD was being developed alongside. We've gotten some past looks at it, like very briefly. We got that one, not gameplay, but like a trailer teaser that showed, kind of the horror aspects of it a little bit. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, if it's going to show up anywhere, it's going to be at a Jeff show, whether it's here or Game Awards. Like,
yep. Yeah. I think we're at a point now where it's like, okay, show us exactly what this game is. Like, you're showing us directors, you're showing us actors. That's all good, but what is OD? And I think that is what we need to know whenever it is next shown. And I definitely think that this point, it makes sense. We're over 6 months past the release of Death Stranding 2. Now's the time to start showing us what OD is about.
Yeah.
Because I think that game is coming out by the end of next year.
Yeah, I mean, that tracks with how long we've heard about it and general dev times right now. I will say that just primarily because it is a Kojima thing, I would not be surprised if we're left with the most esoteric stuff until right before release. I would not be surprised if we got another presentation on it and it only gave us more questions instead of an actual explanation of what the game is.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying that I want to know what this game actually is. So
someday we'll find out.
Yeah, that's something that I wanted to bring up because it's been on my mind for a minute. Let's get the obvious stuff out of the way.
For sure.
Final Fantasy 7 Part 3. It's happening. There's no way it's not.
Yeah,
it's the most lock of locks for that show.
Yeah, I would say, to give a little context to that thinking, if you haven't been thinking this, I think it's safe to say Square Enix is probably going to have something big this year. We're kind of been waiting on the payoff from when they said they were going to focus more on their big AAA initiative stuff. That's not to say they haven't released big games. Obviously, Rebirth was in 24. But we were just hitting that point where it's okay, there was kind of talk of we're going to have a lot more tentpole releases that are now the focus. They're not going to do as many side games. And this feels like the year where something's got to show up. And if it's going to be anything, it's going to be Part 3. I think Kingdom Hearts is always going to be doing its own pacing, and we'll see that when we see it. I think, we just got this update on Dragon Quest 12. It's not going to be that. And I don't think Square Enix treats Dragon Quest quite the same when it comes to that kind of where to show it and talk about it. Yeah, it's got to be at the show. There's only one other thing that I think is a safer lock, but it's not for SGF. But yeah.
That's true. There are other things actually for SGF that I do think it's more a more guaranteed lock, the next Control game. I forgot the subtitle, just because those only show up at Jeff shows at this point.
Yeah, and a lot of Remedy stuff is all Jeff shows. Yeah,
and it seems like that game's going to come out this fall. I think it's coming out soon. So that makes sense to me. So that, yeah, that I think is definitely more of a lock than FF7, but I would be shocked if FF7's not there.
Yeah, in terms of brand new reveals, right? Because Control would definitely be an update and another look at something. In terms of hey, you haven't seen anything on this yet, other than previous entries in the series. Final Fantasy VII makes a lot of sense to be kind of one of the big reveals that Yeah, I agree. And I feel like last year we talked about like, we were hoping we would see something and that did not happen other than Killer In. Uh, but this year feels like
Nier Automata DLC.
true. But I think this year is like, no, like there's got to be something big here, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not just making this up. Like, I am kind of making it up, but like the signs are there.
But and that's also not to say that Square hasn't gone hard. Like Square's had a great like not just like 2025, but just like of the past 12 months from like June to last June, right?
Yeah.
Like we're getting Elliot in June. We got Octopath Traveler 0. We got the Dragon Quest 1 and 2. Like
Final Fantasy Tactics.
Final Fantasy Tactics. Like yes, these are not like the big like tentpole titles, but still like things that people who love Square Enix are gonna show up and buy.
Yeah.
But like now it's just like, okay, time for part 3. Like Hamaguchi's been like saying a bunch of stuff about part 3. Like there's no way it's not gonna be there. I'm just very curious as to like exactly what they're going to show, how much they're going to show, because I do think that this is going to be more of a quicker turnaround than Rebirth. Because if I remember correctly, it was like, oh, we announced Rebirth at like SGF 1 year, and then the following SGF was when they did the actual like gameplay reveal, where like they did all the kind of like Shinra propaganda type thing, where like they, you see Barrett and Tifa on like on the stretchers going into the helicopter and all that stuff, like and then that was when they started the real like promotion marketing campaign for Rebirth going up to its release date the following spring. I think that that's what we're about to start here. We're about to start like we're going to get like a decent reveal, and it's going to come out early next year. That's my thought process.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because so the first reveal wasn't actually at SGF. It was at when they did that anniversary live stream.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so
but that was the year before still.
Yes, it wasn't like a full year before because I forget when the live stream was. I don't think it was in June. But yeah, it was like the live stream happened. They announced that it was happening because they were like, oh, like remakes, we released that, reunions happening, and then here's also Rebirth like as the next big entry.
Right.
And because this is SGF, I do wonder if maybe we get a meteor trailer than just like it's happening, Yeah. I'm still not saying it's going to be like an in-depth, here's a lot of gameplay and all the big twists right away, but maybe something where we see a little bit of it in motion, and not just like title reveal done.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to get a release date or just a release window?
I don't think we're getting date yet. I mean, like they could. Like, look, okay, the only way we're getting a date this early is if it's something extremely symbolic. Like, I think we were talking last week with Taylor about how there was the theory of like they're going to drop it on, the anniversary day. And it's like, sure, that's a cool idea. That's fun. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but like if they are able to make that work turnaround time wise, like cool. And if that's the case, sure, yeah, drop the date, make it a big deal that it's like on the anniversary day we're ending this. Like, here you go. But if it's not that, I think we're just getting a window.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's definitely a safer bet, of course, to say to get a window. But I don't know. I feel like the way that it's honestly been impressive how quickly that these games have come out. Because I remember when it was first announced, people were like, oh, this is going to take like 15 years for this project to finish. Yeah. And it's like, it's going to finish in less than 7, at least from the releases, from release to release to release.
Yeah, like assuming we get the third one by 27, yeah. We're looking at 7 years, yeah.
That's super impressive. 7 on 7 years. But yeah, that's super impressive. Like, it's really mind-boggling seeing how well that has been done in like 16's development, but then like all of these other projects that Square's been doing and how they've just been like seemingly logistical nightmares. And I don't know that I think that we're probably gonna get a window. We'll probably get a window, but I would not be surprised if we got a hard date.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 4.
You think we're gonna get both back to back? Maybe not back to back, but like, are you like they're gonna both be present? You think?
Here's what I'll say. I was talking to a local friend of mine, who, you know, he's like my Kingdom Hearts guy here that I always talk to with. He's a good friend of mine. And my mindset right now is that, like, if I had to put money on it, whether or not it's going to be there, I'm not taking that bet. I'm not taking that bet.
But your heart tells you.
But my heart says that it'll be there. No, but like if I had to do like a percentage, I'm thinking like right now, 60-40 it not being there. Like 60% it's not going to be there, 40% it's going to be there.
That's a tighter race than I was expecting you to say. Yeah.
And I think that, but like the things that I want to put into perspective is that knowing that like the next possible place to like show anything off would be like D23. I don't think that's the place to re-reveal Kingdom Hearts 4, right? And then there's like TGS, which Square could do that. Like they've done stuff like that at TGS before.
Yeah.
I still don't think that's the place to do it.
Yeah.
And
but then also Game Awards.
But then it would be the Game Awards, and like that's too far down the line. Like last year, I was like pretty confident, right? Like I was like, oh, yeah, I think Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to be at SGF. And then when it wasn't, I was just like, dang, that sucks. Now a year later, I'm like, this shit needs to be at SGF. Like, you got to give us something. You're like, I'm not, you know, obviously it's coming out after Rebirth or what part 3. It's definitely coming out post part 3. Probably December 27, you know, early winter of 28 at the earliest. But like, you got to give us something. Like, you can give us something like solid, like a solid 2-minute trailer, and then be silent for another 6 months. That's totally plausible. That's totally reasonable.
Just say hi. Like, just show up for a minute, please.
Just say hi. Because, like, we know that you're going to have to, you know, you need to be reworking some stuff from Missing Link into KH4, or you're going to, like, package it as a side piece of thing for KH4, now that Missing Link is canceled. But you gotta just give us some sense of existence in a real way. In a real way. Like, why would you not, when it's SGF, it's going to have like the most streaming attendance or whatever for the year, and be like, hey, because there's no Star Wars Celebration this year. Hey, Star Wars is happening. Look at this. You know what I mean? And I just feel like, I don't know. I honestly just feel like I'm going to turn into the Joker if it's not there. Because it's like, there's no way you're going to do it any other time outside of outside of SGF and TGAs. And yeah, so I don't want to go on a whole ramble about it, but I think that it needs to be here. And I'm not saying I think it will, but I think it needs to be here. So.
And Cam, for your sake, I want to believe too. That's what I'll say.
I would rather if you just said, I don't think it's going to be there. I don't need you to. I don't need because you're pitying me at this point.
No, I'm not pitying. I'm empathizing, because I've been a fan that's waited a long time for a game as well. Like, I get it. I've been there.
Okay.
That game was called Kingdom Hearts 3, and I hit a point where I just didn't care anymore. And so, like, maybe you will too. I don't know, but
no, that will never happen. That'll never happen. But I'm still very excited, and really, honestly, if I'm being completely honest with you, Kevin, the thing I care about most about Kingdom Hearts 4, more than literally anything currently, is I just want confirmation that reaction commands are back. That is what I care more than anything. Because, again, just Nomura being like, we saw people say that reaction commands were bad in Kingdom Hearts 2,
Who did
so
you
we
talk
took them
to?
out of Kingdom Hearts 3. Who did you talk to? who
did
fans?
this?
What fans? Because I don't believe they exist. I think you're talking to ghosts. But like, you know, they brought them back in the Remind DLC. So God willing, Nomura's like, oh, we're gonna put these back in 4. So that is like honestly the thing I care about the most. And so yeah, because yeah.
Yeah.
There are other things that I know, but I will not divulge on this.
We will leave those be for now.
Yeah, I will not share.
Since we've been talking about them 2 games in a row, do you think there's anything else from Square Enix we might see right now, or do you think those are the main bets? Because like maybe there's one last Elliot trailer in a direct. I don't think I see that being at SGF. That just seems silly. Maybe at State of Play for some reason, but like, you know, they like to do those last second reminders. They did it for Final Fantasy Tactics, where we got a trailer like at every major showcase they could get. I don't see any other like reveals, right? Like we've talked about stuff that we are hoping is happening. I think Dragon Quest is out the window at this point just because we just had this celebration thing this morning. So I don't think they're going to be like, oh, Dragon Quest 4, 5, 6 remakes, by the way. We're going to talk about those at Nintendo Direct. That's not happening.
No.
Team Asano obviously is working on Elliot, so that's there. The only other franchises that they could maybe touch on are like, if there's anything Saga going on, which would be at a Direct, that wouldn't be at SGF. Or
it feels like time for an announcement for a new Saga. Like I know that we got one last year, but like they've been dishing those out. Yeah, they've been knocking those out.
Yeah, and the last one too was like a remake, and so I think that was like a different team from like the people that were responsible for making like the actual brand new ones. And yeah,
at TG at SGF specifically, I don't know. This could also happen at a Direct, but I think the one thing that I think could happen, and I'm curious how you feel about this. What do you think about an announcement of a Tactics 2?
I think that's a pipe dream that you shouldn't
really
pop that in front of me. Yeah.
Really?
I don't think it's happening. I don't think.
Really?
I think they're happy doing their remasters and remakes. I think maybe, you know, a remaster of like Tactics Advance or Advance 2 is a possibility. I honestly think, because like a large problem, right, is like I don't know if anyone's bringing Matsuno on for this. I don't know if they're really looking at any of the talent that like has worked on that style of game before. It'd be cool, but like
here's the reason why I think it can be entertained, because I do have a reason for this. You know, we went to that panel at PAX West on Tactics, and they were really pushing the like, hey, y'all should really buy this game, blah 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 blah, like that type of thing. And I think normally, like, Square is very notorious, in my opinion, from my just observation, that like when they do that kind of talk, it's because they're already like planning on making another one.
Yeah, or at least it's the dependence of that is relying on how well this like last one does.
Yes. And so like my thought process is that they are working on a second on like a new Tactics game. I'm not saying it's like in the same universe, like the same is in Evilise.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that like I think that they're working on something like that. And you know, that is something that I could see being announced at a Direct, but I could also see that being like a small announcement at an SGF as well. Because like there's the idea of like, oh, you know, maybe Nintendo doesn't want to show that off when they're pushing Fire Emblem as their next big title.
Sure. Yeah, I don't remember the timeline on like Triangle Strategy being revealed alongside any other Fire Emblem games right now.
Triangle Strategy was 2021, and then Three Houses came out in 2019, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and when was the one I don't like? My brain's not working right now. When was the last Fire Emblem?
2019, I'm pretty sure.
No, for Engage?
For Three Houses? Oh, Engage. That was 2023, I believe.
Yeah, and Triangle Strategy was 2022.
Yeah, so Engage was 2023.
Yeah, so they're spaced out enough that those weren't ever competing. I don't see Nintendo doing that necessarily, and like I do think if they're going to reveal something like that anywhere, uh, I think a Nintendo Direct makes the most sense, especially because I think if they were to make another one, they would probably keep the art style somewhat more retro. Like I don't see them being like, oh, we're going to make a new tactics game and we're going to go like high def 3D like cool stuff. Like I don't see them doing that. I think they're going to keep like a pixel or older aesthetic.
I agree.
And so I just think normally they like sticking to Nintendo for those projects. Like it just seems like anything that is not like a more, we're trying to do AAA tentpole. It feels like Nintendo tends to be where they drop that.
The thing with Nintendo though is that you would have to show gameplay, and I don't think that it would be gameplay ready to show off, which is why I think SGF makes more sense. And then when it's ready to be properly revealed in a gameplay sense, it would be at a Nintendo Direct.
Sure.
This is just just like a hypothetical idea, just because like again they were kind of like, hey, buy tactics on everything, that type of deal. And a Tactics 2 I think is like the one tactics game that people would get like more excited about than like a new Fire Emblem.
Yeah, I mean it's look, I think it's a neat idea. It's one of those things where it's like there's a devout happy fan base, but is that a large enough fan base that they're going to do that? Like a ground up new game, you know what I mean? Versus like remasters, remakes, which are a little less investment intensive.
Definitely. So that's just like that's like the one thing that I could see if based off of your question of like, sure, would there be anything else that would be announced there that makes sense?
Yeah.
What else do you think on the JRPG side specifically? We can like kind of expand to Eastern titles after.
Yeah.
That you think might be shown off at SGF?
SGF is tough because I think we're going to definitely get some other JRPGs, but the track record of Jeff and JRPGs is not great at shows.
That's
it just
not Square.
Yeah, that's not Square, and not Square tentpole, right? Like I don't like you're not going to get Octopath Traveler at like an SGF reveal. You know what I mean? It's got to be the big showpiece kind of ones, like the Final Fantasy VII remakes. What I will say on the JRPG front, not at SGF, but at Xbox, this is something we've both talked about a few times. We're getting an actual like full reveal of Persona 4 Revival, right? Like that's happening.
1000%.
Like that's
a lock. Yeah, absolute lock. Like that's a lock of anything that's not first party Xbox. Like,
yeah, like that is just that. Like we already got the one mini reveal last year, and the timing's right, especially if they do the same release schedule with Persona 3 Reload, where it's like a first quarter release of next year. It just makes sense. Like I think if there's any true lock for JRPGs at this upcoming season of announcements, it's that.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, I cannot wait. Like outside of the hope of Kingdom Hearts 4 and like seeing part 3, like Persona 4 Revival is just like, oh my gosh, I'm counting down the days. I can't I hope we get a taste of like that new soundtrack, maybe the new battle theme. That would be really great. And there are obviously some questions like, hey, are we doing the golden route here? Like, because that would be such a huge miss if they did not do that. That would honestly like knock so much of the wind of that game out of my sails.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't think it's gonna happen either. Like the only reason why Reload cut FMC is because that was like literally a whole ass other game,
Yes.
Whereas like Golden Route, like no, that's just like more story in the already established stuff. Like so I don't see them cutting that. I'd be very surprised if that happened.
Yeah, also very interested about the we probably won't learn it on that day, but the new voice cast, right? Because they recasted everyone for P3R. Like I'm very curious as to who they've selected to play those roles. Yeah, pass the torch and carry the torch. Because again, like Persona 4, like Persona is one of those series where you actually are like, okay, who's voicing the new cast of characters? Like, you want to know who the voice cast is. Or, oh yeah, you don't really care about that stuff. Most people do. Most people do.
Most?
Yes, most people do. Most
is
Persona
a strong
fans,
word choice.
Most Persona fans absolutely do. This you are saying the crazy thing right now.
For sure. Whatever you say, Cam.
Yes. But yeah, very excited about Persona 4 Royal. Or Royal Revival. What else is there that we can potentially bring up? Because we've kind of gone through like all of the big JRPG franchises at this point.
For sure. Well, I think let's touch on this a little bit, like company by company basis, right? I think we've already talked Square Enix as much as we can. So Sega, as part of that, Atlas, Persona 4 Revival, as we said. I think maybe we get like another just like hype up trailer for Stranger Than Heaven. Yeah, it's like, sure, it got that whole presentation, but like no reason not to just bring it up again real quick as part of an Xbox presentation, because again, Sega loves doing stuff at Xbox stuff, because Xbox probably paying a healthy amount to keep reminding folks that yes, JRPGs are coming to our systems as well. Damn it.
Yeah.
I think if I'm gonna be a little more kind of like dream chasey, wishy, whatever, one thing that I think would be really cool to see, and this is not based on any kind of actual speculation other than time, Vanillaware was putting a lot of work into doing remasters and re-releases of a lot of their games onto modern platforms. We got Odin Sphere updated for the PS4. We got I can't remember the name of it right now, but the first one that's like the witch kind of themed game,
Grim Grimoire.
Yeah, Grim Grimoire. And so the one big missing title right now, as far as their back catalog, at least things that have released in the West before, is Muramasa. And I would love to see that game be made available on modern platforms. The last release was on the Vita. Before that, it was a Wii game. And so it's definitely been slightly more limited platforms in some ways. Everyone bought a Wii, but I don't think that was the game everyone with Wiis was going after, and so I would love if Vanillaware made an appearance and it was just like, hey, yeah, like, we have a new project however far in the future, but by the way, also, here's Muramasa, like the one missing game. They have other titles that could also get remakes that were Japan only, but as far as things that have come to the States before, that's the big missing one for modern platforms right now.
Now, well, first off, would love that. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And I would be, or in general, like just the announcement of a new Vanillaware game.
I think that's further out, but yeah.
I do want to double back really quickly to Square Enix on something.
Okay.
I've thought of something. What are the chances of that Final Fantasy IX remake actually coming to light?
I don't think it's happening, buddy.
You don't think it's happening?
I don't think it's happening. I thought you were about to say. I thought you were going to bring up the Chrono Trigger remake dreams again, but I think
that is also a possibility.
Yeah, I think the FF9 thing's dead in the water. From everything we've heard from anyone that had some degree of in the know, like we know that project was in the works at some point. That is an indisputable fact. Like that's not. But there's been a lot of sounds of just like didn't pan out. For whatever reason, just hit so far in development. We got those priority shifts a few years back. That might have just ended up on the cutting room floor. And like, maybe this is my own cope of just being like, yeah, it's gone. It's fine. We don't need to keep talking about it. It's over. The dream's dead. But
just stop mentioning it.
Yeah. But sure. Be cool if it's there. I just don't. I think that is, I don't think it's impossible for them to touch that game again someday in the future, but I think that particular instance, that particular project is just dead. Would love to be wrong.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I just wanted to mention it.
Oh, for sure.
One of the publishers that we definitely got to talk about is Capcom.
Oh, yeah.
So Onimusha Way of the Sword, release date. Give us the release date.
Release date, more full trailer. Yeah, I think we've had a couple trailers already, but they've been relatively short, and I think they've tried like keeping certain things close to the chest. So I think a full reveal with release date, that's got to happen. I think we probably get another touch on Mega Man that got revealed at TGA's last year. I think a check-in on that is not unrealistic. I wouldn't go as far to say like guaranteed, but like I think we could see it.
Now, semi-related, that I'm curious if you think we'll get something to any capacity. Okami.
That was the other one that was going to bring that up next too. It depends, because I feel like that first trailer was so just like a "it's happening" trailer. You know what I mean? And it's like I have no concept of how far along that game actually is. Right? Like the little bit we saw of Mega Man, that gives me more hope for like how quickly turnaround that's going to be. Whereas Okami, that could just be like a, hey man, they showed it and it's coming in 5 years. Like I don't know. Like we just don't know where that's at.
So I think it. I don't think it's crazy to say that like maybe 6-ish months after leaving Platinum could have been when he that team started the development for Okami. That being said, that's still like a year and some change on top from when it was first announced. So like I honestly think that this game is at least a couple of years in development. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. And so just like giving us something, like, maybe not showing a bunch of gameplay, but just being like, hey, here's this, and we're aiming for sometime next year. Like, could be at any point next year. Because when it comes to Capcom, like, after Onimusha, like, what do we really know that they got going? And then Mega Man, what else do we really know that they got going on for new releases?
Yeah, I mean, no, not a whole lot. Can very safely guess. I mean, there's a few things, right? Like, we're going to get another Resident Evil.
Yeah,
we're probably getting
like Code Veronica
or 5. Yeah, like that's a very safe bet.
Monster Hunter's getting a DLC, like an expansion, but like, Wilds did not sell the numbers that I think that they were remotely hoping for. So like,
there was definitely a more mixed reception to that one. Yeah. And then, I mean, one big franchise, this might be just a bit too soon because, Dragon's Dogma was only, what was that? Was that 24 or was that 25? That was 24. Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
Especially because they have a cartoon that has been, as much as I dislike it, has given a little extra juice to sales. They've been talking about how well some of the past ones have been selling now, like since that came on Netflix. And so it's like, cool, like we got another one in the works. Where are we at on that? What's going on? And part of the reason why it's been so long is, again, Dragon's Dogma 2. But I would assume early dev on that probably would have started before that wrapped up. And then how far along could it be now? So that is something I would love to see. I think that's probably another year out that we actually hear about it. I think this year would be too soon, but yeah. Again, Resident Evil, I feel like that has a good chance of being talked about. What else from Capcom? There's always the dream of Ace Attorney coming back. I don't think so.
And see,
that would be a Nintendo Direct.
That would be a Nintendo Direct. I was going to bring that up during the Nintendo Direct. Yeah, I think that is definitely possible. Or something new from that creator. Yeah,
in the vein of like that and Ghost Trick, like just like a new game that is in that general genre of his works. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like at least on the, one thing that's worth mentioning is the new Black Myth game. That's not particularly like my vibe. So I don't really have much more to say on it outside of that. I think it's very likely that game will be there because similar
off,
because again, it only is really shown at Jeff Keighley stuff. Phantom Blade Zero, very excited. Like sure we'll see that. Very excited about seeing that again. But yeah, I think like at least on the Eastern side of things, that's more or less like what's really possible. That's like not a gotcha.
Yeah, because like anything Falcom, you think? Is there like even if it's not true, like
no way, absolutely.
Or no, just any of the presentations, like the Nintendo and
Nintendo Direct, very possible. But
You think
I
just like
mean,
second chapter? Is there anything East going on? I don't keep track of East, so I don't know where we're at on that right now. For new
East,
releases.
we're kind of waiting for the announcement of 11, or whatever they're working on next. Again, I would very much like a remake of East 5 because that's the one that hasn't been localized, but we'll see. And it's also the next one in line because they remade the first two long time ago.
Yeah.
They remade Oath of Felghana. They remade, Memories of Celceta. So that's like the next in line to do it. But who knows? They might be working on 11. I know like some people are kind of theorizing that 11 is going to be like the next time, like the farthest in the timeline,
Sure.
kind of like nine
Actually
after
advancing
9.
it. Yeah.
And then they're going to bring back like Karja in some capacity because like people really like Karja, and like they very much made her the closest to like a potential romance to Adel, and seeing if they decide to go down that route. But yeah, that's definitely a possibility eventually.
Yeah.
Also Kyoto Xanadu, like we know that that's
right.
like their big push outside of Trails, and I'm curious if we'll finally get like a US release date because we know it's coming out in Japan this year, but we don't know what's coming out outside of Japan. So that'd be really nice. When it comes to not Xbox, Nintendo, because I think Xbox is really just gonna be the Sega show, and that's really all we're gonna get from them.
JRPG stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
There might be some Bandai Namco, which I'm not sure what to expect from Bandai Namco right now, but like I feel like Bamco tends to have a pretty good Xbox presence as well historically.
Yeah, the one thing maybe is the Sword Art game.
Sure. Yeah.
Because that's just like what we know. And then they did just recently announce Xenoverse 3, so that could have an appearance there as well. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, yeah, when it comes to Nintendo, I mean, I think that there's potentially a chance for this to be kind of a blowout for JRPG people because there's like 3 games, right, that I think all have a very good chance of like showing up being there. Obviously, getting the actual release date for Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, along with getting like another full glance at like what form that game is taking place, and maybe even giving a clearer tie to like how it relates to Three Houses. I think Dustbloods, get another look at that finally from maybe actually know what it actually is, right? Because we know it's like a multiplayer game, but like what does that actually mean, right? Like what is how do we compete?
Capacity?
Is it purely PvE? Is it PvP? How is that working? What is the win condition? What actually is this game?
Yeah.
And then Xenoblade Chronicles 2 remaster, remake, whatever you want to call it. Switch 2 edition, even, whatever.
Yes,
just
give it to me. That's what I want. That's
like
what
I think
need.
those are the 3 things that are just like that. Those are probably happening somewhere in there.
Yes. And one of the other things I don't think it's a lock, but I would be shocked if it's not there. Professor Layton.
Oh,
I
sure.
think Professor Layton will be there. I think we'll get a release date.
Speaking of level 5, do you think we're gonna? You think you're gonna see Deca Police there, buddy?
If we do not see Deca Police at this direct, I don't think it's coming out this year. I don't.
One more time, just keep delaying. I don't know.
Keep delaying it.
It is crazy how that one just kind of has like semi disappeared. I hope it's good.
Yeah, I need that game so bad. But yeah, I think with the Nintendo Direct, that's kind of like those are like the big things. We'll probably get some stuff on Splatoon, Raiders, Star Fox, of course. Now here a couple questions. One, do you think we'll get the announcement of the next 3D Mario? Or do you think it's too early? Because it's not going to come out this year. Or is the rumor that it is going to come out this year?
No, it's not going to come out this year.
Okay.
Let's say all things considered, the Nate the Hague leak is 100% accurate for the sake of this conversation.
Okay.
I don't think so, only because I think Ocarina of Time remake is a big enough tentpole reveal.
Yeah.
I think they just save Mario for another show.
So
Like that's a strong showing to be like Zelda and Mario back to back. Like hell yeah, but I just don't see them doing that.
okay, now my follow-up question, which was my initial thought in my mind, do you think we're gonna get a ending announcement, like at the very end of the direct, new Smash Bros, similarly to how they did it like with the Inklings, where it's just a CGI trailer
Yeah,
being like Smash is
BT
back,
dubs. Yeah,
it's happening, that type of thing? Or do you think that they're just going to end it with Ocarina of Time? Because I would think that like if they start with Ocarina of Time, because they're either going to start with it or end with it, right?
yeah.
Like
They always do. They like the bookend it. They always.
It would
bookend
be
it,
yeah, it would be very surprising if that's outside of anything else. So like if they started with Ocarina of Time, to me that's like, oh, they're ending with something big. You know what I mean? And yeah, and so I'm my thought process is like, what is bigger than an Ocarina of Time remake? And it's really just Smash Bros.
Yeah, and even then, I personally don't think that's happening this year. I think just with Kirby Air Riders, being as recent as it was, I think Smash is a little further out. It certainly has been long enough. Like if it wasn't for Kirby Air Riders, I'd be much more like, oh yeah, like we're getting a reveal this year. But like knowing Sakurai was working on Air Riders as long as he did, I just don't see Smash being this year. Announced
Yeah, but here's the thing: like, I don't even think he like worked on Kirby Air Riders that long. And also, like when they announced the game was almost done. Like, you know what I mean? Like
True.
the game was basically done.
Yeah.
And so there was all that time up to that point. They said that there's going to be like no additional content, yada yada yada.
Yeah, it's done.
And they're just going to be building off of Ultimate. So they have like so many of the assets. They're going to redesign some characters, of course. Like Samus will probably get a Metroid Prime 4 redesign. Like those,
Sure.
But you know what I mean? Like I think
that's actually interesting because my assumption was going to be the next one would be kind of a soft reboot.
I think it will be a soft reboot. I agree with you, but like the assets are still going to be I think they're going to be very similar to what Ultimate was, because that's how it was with Wii U to Ultimate.
Sure. Yeah.
And so yeah, I think like a lot of the maps, obviously they're going to be new maps, but like a lot of the maps are going to be just carried over. A lot of the character designs are going to be carried over.
I really hope not, personally. Like
I hope not, but like
I just think Ultimate kind of was like the capstone of like that kind of run of Smash games, kind of starting with like Brawl, and I would kind of want the next one to hit the reset button a little harder, because it's like
I agree.
Ultimate still works. Like Ultimate's on the back and pat, it runs. We have that full roster because like they're not going to do everyone's here again. Like that's just not happening for this next one.
No.
And so I would really hope the next one is like we kind of do a heavier
back
revision
to basics
here. Yeah.
No, and everything that you're saying, I agree with you. I just don't think that's what I do think, like, regardless of whether I want it or not, it is going to be a soft reset, like you said.
Yeah.
The things that I'm like, while I agree with you, I don't think it's going to happen, is the like, hey, we're like building everything from the ground up again.
Yeah.
I do not think that's going to happen.
We'll find out.
But regardless, if that does happen, that would be incredibly hype. Was there any other things that you wanted to talk about before we wrap things up? Like we touched upon Fire Emblem, like August, September released window. Like hopefully we'll finally get, like, if there is a collector's edition, hey, we got a collector's edition reveal. Like, but outside of that, it's kind of just like, give us the game at this point.
Sure. Like we haven't seen a ton of trailers, but I feel like the first trailer was meaty enough and so far in advance that it's just kind of like, all right, what's happening? Where we at? Because that was a good, like that showed a lot for a first trailer that was that far in advance. Yeah, so I mean, like, Three Houses followed a similar thing because they did the thing where they had the first trailer one year and the following year was like they revealed the time skip. And so maybe they could do a similar thing here where there's some kind of like our previous understanding gets kind of flipped on its head a little with what they show in a new trailer. But yeah, that game's got to get revealed pretty damn quick. It's going to be at a direct, unless they randomly announce it on a Tuesday morning and then they do the direct a week later. Good old Nintendo. I think I'm tapped out. I felt like I had one thought earlier, but it's left my brain. It's late.
It is late. It is 3 minutes to midnight. So,
Hey.
but yeah, I think we talked about all the big parts. We covered all the big bases, and
I remember.
You remembered.
I remembered. Real quick, what are the chances of, aside from Revival, we get some kind of SMT remake? Because I'm kind of surprised we did not get Rhino 2 as yet. Because I feel like
I could see that. I could see a Rhino 2. That being said, and I'm honestly surprised neither of us thought about it. Persona 6, just a tease.
Just tell us the color. Confirm that it's green.
Well, confirm that it's green. But just a tease that hey, this exists.
I mean, that'd be cool. I mean, yeah, just give us the thematic idea. Give us a color. Give us a musical genre. We'll figure out the rest later.
No, that would. I mean, it would make sense to me. Because I don't think having a tease would stop people from being hyped about Persona 4 Revival.
Not at all.
Persona sickos are going to show up regardless. So. Yeah,
I don't think those are good. I mean, and that's even, what they did with 3 Reload and Metaphor, right? Those came out close together and were advertised side by side plenty. And I know Metaphor is not strictly a Persona game, but let's all be honest. So I could absolutely see them doing that, yeah.
Okay, cool. I can't believe we almost ended the podcast not talking about that.
All right, real quick. Just pick a genre. What are we doing this time? We've had hip hop, J-pop, and then jazz. Where are we going next?
Oh God.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna say punk.
Punk?
Japanese, obviously, but
I was thinking maybe more maybe some R&B.
Okay. A little smoother?
Yeah, some rhythm and blues type deal. But here that's the thing is just I think part of it we gotta see what the art direction style is, because I think that the other games you're kind of able to deduce that just based off of looking at that.
Sure.
Oh, the sad moody game is low vibe hip hop, and then the bright and poppy colors happens to be about a murder mystery is pop, Yeah. So I think that
the Thieves one has a jazz vibe going on.
So I think it'll be something like R&B, maybe electro vibe. I could see that as well. But we'll see. We'll see what Atlas sound team's got cooking. Kevin, do you have anything else for the people before we dip out?
It is time for memes. That's what I got to tell the people right now.
It is time for memes. Okay, everybody, you can follow me on socials at CamFileMix, and you can follow Kevin on socials at Kevin Kenson. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this week's episode. And until next time, we'll catch you later.
Later.